Bitcoin is 57,000. Distinct breakout of the channel, massive pump with Larsson Line gold. Channel breakout means that the upper channel is now in play. We move up our targets for the halving and the period that will follow afterwards. I actually feel a little emotional today. It worked. Larsson Line worked again, and I could share it with more people than ever this cycle. It is difficult to hold on to something, to stick to a principle for years, especially doing it public on the internet in the face of criticism, and even the strongest feel hesitation sometimes. But I stuck with it, I stood my ground, and it worked. And I'm happy that I could reward you all for your trust. If we go back a little in time, to the point where Larsson Line started flipping gold after the downtrend of 2022. Do you remember the lack of interest and the criticism that I got at that time? Look here how much price had already moved up from the bottom until Larsson Line flipped gold here at about 21k. In the Discord, we did catch it earlier because we noticed this huge volume peak, these resistance levels that started flipping into support, and we got an entry at 17,433 on the 10th of January, and then added more at the gold flip. But look here, it looks like you missed it. Lagging garbage indicator system. Except what happened after that. That was down here, and now when price is at 57,000, it doesn't feel so lagging anymore, with entries at 17,433 and at 21k, does it? Now we're in this mode. Everyone who bought Bitcoin at 17k right now. That's me right now. But I'm telling you that the celebration will only last one day because I've seen this movie before. So what will happen now instead is that the criticism will become that, oh, but this is so simple. I could have done that too. Look at this simplistic indicator and system. Complete garbage. Garbage indicator, garbage system. What a scam. And I thank you for that, because then I don't need to hire this slave. I'm sure you know this in the Roman tradition. After a major military victory, the triumphant general were paraded through the streets to the roar of the masses. Then they had the slave to whisper in the general's ear, Memento mori. Look behind, remember you are mortal, remember you must die. Because the most dangerous spot is the point of success. Still, I have taken this moment to update my tracking, which I have tracked here on my website for many years on the Bitcoin chart. If we scroll down now, I have added the recent events. I put the current price as of today at 56,000. I've done this tracking since the start from October 2015, so I'm not gonna change that now. And right now that comes out at a total process return of 1,748x. And that's actually the conservative case. In many cases, by deploying more effort, we could up that further, and that tracking is now at 2,774x. As comparison, a HODL strategy to the current price from the same starting point would have given 215x. But this has never been about maximizing the gain. That's just a nice side effect. The real value here is that throughout this time, this process has given downside protection, while HODL has unlimited downside exposure. While that seems impossible at a day like today, that Bitcoin would ever get replaced by some other cryptocurrency, I'm sure that you can relate and appreciate the benefits when applying this process to altcoins, which have been continuously replaced by other altcoins that fulfill similar use cases and that capture much of the upside, but then also can go into an extended downwards trend. And because you reduce the downside risk, that enables you to enter with more capital at any given risk exposure. That's the biggest benefit of the Larsson Line process, which I know many of you felt during 2022. Right now, when everything points up, most people will feel, I don't need some silly process or indicators. I'm a genius. And I felt the same. I didn't come up with this during 2017. I came into crypto here during the spring-summer 2017 when we were in this phase. Process and indicators didn't occur to me. I'm obviously a genius. I don't need to study. I don't need to learn anything. It was during 2018 when reality struck that I realized perhaps this wasn't as simple as it seemed, and perhaps I wasn't as much of a genius as I thought either. Perhaps I actually need some tools. Perhaps I actually need a process. Perhaps I need to study and learn. And this was for Bitcoin. That was the good case. As you recall, many altcoins went up 1000x and then they went down 99.9%. So while I'm tracking this from 2015 because that's how I started and I didn't want to change this, I created the indicator only in 2018. But from that point, this is actually forward testing. I have not created this and the indicator after the fact. All this stuff here from 2018 has played out in real time. The state of the indicator here doesn't change backwards. This year also reminds us that the process isn't the indicator alone. We absolutely dodged this small flip in here because of how the chart construction looked, and I shared all this in the Friday TA reports. Then the second blue flip over here was a little bit harder actually, and I think most people did miss out little bit of gains from here, perhaps up until here, when the trend turned back up again. On the other hand, we got several opportunities to offload at resistance and buy back at support. So for many members, this congestion actually turned out profitable despite that. But in the tracking here, I've chosen to take the more conservative case and assumed exit here at this blue flip and re-entry on the inverse head and shoulders and the gold flip that happened at slightly higher prices. So that is factored in here, guys. I'm not doing some idealized case here. On the contrary, this is the conservative case. And that is the trade-off we're doing. When things start looking shaky, we play defense. That also means we might miss out on part of the gain, theoretically. In practice, however, as you have seen, this has hands down beaten HODL with a huge margin, because that playing defense tactic also dodged this giant drawdown from 49,000 until we started getting entries again at much lower prices. And remember now that this is in the good outcome for the HODL case. If you apply this to an altcoin instead, which is nowhere near its all-time high levels, the difference becomes much bigger. Like if you bought Gary Gensler's favorite project Algorand at $2, which is now in 0.2, or any of the altcoins that backed up 99%. So guys, this is how I look when I'm happy. And to celebrate this, if you go here to ctolarsson.com and press course and indicator and scroll down, you will find something that will make many of you very happy. Of course, I still support card payment, but we now have crypto payments online. You can pay with Bitcoin, you can pay with USDT, USDC, over Ethereum ERC20 or BSC BEP20, and you can also pay with stablecoin USDT, USDC over the Solana network. Now don't copy these addresses from the video. Actually go to ctolarsson.com and make sure the addresses haven't changed. And to reiterate, this is not a subscription, this is a one-off payment. We have members who have enjoyed this service for 5 years at $0 per month beyond the initial payment. We're investors. This is an investment. There is a lot of strength in Bitcoin here. It's standing tall, strong, like Mount Everest, pointing up like a rocket or something else. And it just won't stop pounding resistance. Spectacular. spectacular. If you look at the open interest, so open interest is the sum of all the futures contracts. You can see here that as price went up, new futures contracts were opened, which means that people are taking new long positions here. Because if these were shorts, they would have gotten liquidated as price kept climbing. Only at this point here, there was some liquidation happening. And if we zoom in on these liquidations, we see what happened here. The main liquidations started happening here. So some degenerate gamblers who didn't watch the CTO Larsson channel, who didn't open their longs at 17k or 21k, they opened probably fresh longs here at 57,200 something. And then when price did a very modest retracement back to 56,200, much of that got liquidated here. From about 14.6 billion open interest to 14.1 billion. So $500 million approximately. But most of these positions are still in play, so I'm not excluding that we get a flash dump in a 1 minute candle to try to liquidate some of these people before resuming the uptrend. Any kind of major retracement with Larsson Line Gold, like we had here back to 40k, is a buying opportunity in an uptrend. The halving is at about 20th of April, so around this time frame. And as of now, we're no longer in this channel. We are now in this channel, which means that the target for the halving has gone up. And if you watch my channel on modeling, those models don't seem as crazy anymore, do they? For what scenarios could be possible at the end of the current parabola. These are not predictions from me. I have a reactive process based on the Larsson line, process and indicator, which has now been a major success. 2018 when I created it, avoided this whole drawdown. 2019 captured much of this uptrend. Messy in this region, caught the beginning of the uptrend in 2020 after the COVID dump, captured much of this entire rally of 2020 and spring 2021. Did fine during this period, this consolidation of late 2021, worked to identify the beginning of the downtrend of 2022, worked to avoid much of the downtrend, worked to catch the beginning of the uptrend of 2023, worked through the time capitulation 2023, worked to catch the end of that capitulation, and worked to catch the uptrend of 2024. I'm ready for the criticism of how easy this was from 2018 and how the reply guys on Twitter could have done it much better than me. But remember that these process entries and exits are not an after construction. This has played out in real time. I've been public on the internet in good times and in bad times. And while this might seem expensive, I think you will struggle to find anything with better value over these years. If you haven't already, I think you should go to ctolarsson.com, press course and indicator, and begin using Larsson Line today. We don't know anything about the future. Perhaps markets will behave differently this year than the previous 100 years. Who knows? But my bet is that the history will continue to rhyme with the future because the people are the same. Thank you, tack. CTO Larsson out. Cheers.